Okay, here we're with Quincy, my co-host for an AFC North Talk. If you haven't followed AFC North Talk, go check them out. It's gonna be the link in the description below. We go live twice a week. It's good show. It's a good laugh. You're gonna be pissed off. It's all the emotions are gonna be here in one. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I hope Baltimore fans are doing great. You know what I mean? I know I'm your favorite YouTuber of all time. Y'all love me. Baltimore fans famous for their love of the Cleveland Browns and Cleveland Browns Associated X. And as you know, I am your favorite Baltimore. Nice to see you guys again. Nice to come in and check out with you guys.
I think I will say this: the most salty part that the Ravens fan base have. I'll include myself into that. But the Browns is there's a feeling that the Browns media is one of the reasons why Art Modell is not in the Hall of Fame. And I get it. I get why the Cleveland fan base don't want Art Modell in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. 100%. It's us keeping Art Modell out the Hall of Fame. Shamelessly so. And honestly, he should not be in the Hall of Fame based off of everything he has done to us. Look, you got to be careful about this is careful about who you make enemies, right? And Art Modell made an enemy with the pettiest city in the world. And we not letting it go. Because you know what? Let me read Art Modell's track record. Because I know for Baltimore fans, he gets their Super Bowl, Ray Lewis, Jonathan Ogden. We having fun with Art Modell. Art Modell's a good time. You know what Art Modell did? He created the whole damn AFC North. Okay, he kicked out Paul Brown and started the Cincinnati Bengals. So Paul Brown started the Cincinnati Bengals because of Art Modell. You know who else he kicked out of Cleveland? Jim Brown. He kicked out Jim Brown of Cleveland, made him retire early because Art Modell wanted him to show up to some OTA, something like that. It's Jim Brown. Like, you want to have him out mad because he's making movies. Jim Brown. Okay, that's like cutting Jordan. So that's also there. And then speaking of cutting Jordan, this is the man who fired Bill Belichick on his way out. Like, talk about an and one out his way. By the way, moved the Browns and created the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah, hey, I understand that he might have played like a Hall of Famer once he got to the Ravens, but we not going to forget the years when he was a scrub out here in Cleveland, ruining everything. It's starting all of our competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, three quarters of the division is because of Art. Because Cleveland has a team because Art Modell left. So obviously,
it is not because Art was being benevolent and he started 3 other franchises. Because Art is especially back in the day, was a little stubborn and forced dudes out that really shouldn't have been forced out. But you know what? We have a podcast now called AFC North Talk, thanks to Art Modell. But bro, as long as people who live during maybe in 30 years when people of my kind have died out, Art might have a chance, but until then, we not letting that one go, bro.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about this game. This is a really good game, and I know Cleveland fans are very down on their team, especially offensively, right now. I will say this, as a Ravens fan, I'm concerned because our defense on stats looks better, I think, than what they are on the field. Our running defense is strong, not as strong as I think top 3. Calais Campbell, hopefully he plays. He's in concussion protocol. My thought is he's probably going to clear. Brandon Williams is coming back. But in the passing game, obviously we have struggled. I think we're 30 or 31st right now in the league on passing. We never came in the season thinking the Ravens are going to be that bad on the passing, right? You can take a step back from top 5, maybe to top 10. Right now, the injury report has Marlon Humphrey as the only person in the cornerback room. And we have lost a couple, but every of the backups are hurt. One of the backups that he had just broke his foot yesterday, so he's out for the season. So I'm wondering, how is this Browns offense going to attack the Ravens defense? Are they going to be like, well, they're hurting on the passing side, we're just going to pass? Or are they still going to go run heavy, play action, and hit the pass to the tight end / receiver? What do you think, Q?
I'm interested to see what the attack's going to be too, because it could be one of two things. And I think one could potentially be a mistake, right? Because it seems like the right thing to do, but sometimes you can't do it. And that's cross your fingers and pray that your run game just carries the offense, right? Like run until you can't run no more. Now, there are definitely proponents of that. You won't make many enemies in Cleveland doing that, but I worry about their ability to run the ball. I mean, again, I know that what the numbers are what they are, right? When it looks like, hey, the Browns are the best running game. But if you watch this team week after week, you know it's not the same. You know that they have been getting stopped in periods of time and not putting out the same output of points because, you know, they're not as dominant, right? The Lions did a good job for most of that game stopping Nick Chubb. You think the Ravens with Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams aren't going to be able to stop the run? I don't know if I'm taking that bet. The bet is when you play the Ravens is to attack their safeties, right? Because that's where they're not strong. That's where they give up big plays. You know, Hump's going to do what Hump does. But the thing I worry about is now that, you know, Jarvis is probably playing and then Donovan Peoples-Jones is probably not playing, right? If Donovan Peoples-Jones doesn't play, that completely takes Jarvis Landry out the equation because I would assume Baltimore's probably just going to say, all right, we're just going to erase Jarvis Landry and make him throw to Rashard Higgins and Jamarcus Brantley. You know, we'll live with that, right? So you know, you want to be able to throw the ball, but you don't really have faith in your wide receiver group right now. You don't really have faith in your tight ends down the field, and you really don't have faith in the quarterback right now because he just hasn't played well in a couple of weeks. So there's all that going for him. That being said, look, the way that the Browns are going to be able to win this game, Baker's going to have to make plays. And this is not just this week. It's going to be for the rest of the year. This is the portion of the season where it gets tough and you need your quarterback to make plays. The early part, you could get away with just running the ball because those are some mediocre teams that you're playing. But right now, quarterback's gonna have to make plays. And it's not saying he's got to have a big game. He don't got to have 300 yards. He didn't have 300 yards against the Bengals, but what did Baker do against the Bengals? Make plays. He made a couple of key plays in key moments to continue the beat down, right? That's what he has to do against Baltimore, right? Just make the plays that are there because what we know about the Ravens is that this year they're going to give you those plays. Lamar is going to give you an opportunity to get the ball back, and the Ravens defense is going to give you an opportunity to beat them over top. You got to make those plays when they give you them, or else you're going to be kicking yourself, right? The Lions were a team that didn't get any of the plays, but took advantage of all the plays you didn't make, and they still lost by 3. So that's what you have to do to beat the Ravens. You have to take advantage of those mistakes, and those mistakes are more than likely going to come in their secondary. Yeah, you can force some mistakes if you get some runs to their secondary because you could break some big runs off on them like that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier just to attack the secondary. And with Baker and his history against the Ravens, we talked about his interception streak on AFC North Talk against the Ravens. You know, it's a dicey proposition, but hey, for him, this could save the season for him, save his perception because nothing helps your perception out like a great game on national TV.
Yep. So I will say this: the defense for the Ravens needs to make sure the run is on check, right? I need Patrick Queen also not to over pursue anything because when he over pursues, that's when there's going to be a cutback and then go. Kareem Hunt might play. Conklin, I think, is playing. Correct?
Conklin, yeah, I think he's coming back.
Yeah, and then there's a rumor that Kareem Hunt might come back. So if Kareem obviously is there and you have Chubb, basically you have no breaks. You have no breaks. You have 2 studs on the backfield. So again, you have to make sure. In the case of Patrick Queen, not only, especially Hunt is there, not only that you defend the run well, if Kareem Hunt leaks out of the backfield, make sure you have to go with him. The other concern that I have for the defense is the tight ends, because even though they're not explosive, like Coop is not explosive, Bryant's not really explosive, and Njoku could be. And I would say this: Njoku has killed us before. Njoku has usually good games against the Ravens. Right now, who can cover Njoku? Right, you have the person that they might put on Njoku is a 3rd round converted to safety rookie guy, Stevens. Right, he's been okay. I know the fan base loves to
Patrick Queen
just.
not going to cover him?
No, Patrick ain't gonna cover him. I mean, they might put him once, and then they're gonna see how bad that experiment will gonna be. But they're gonna probably put Stevens or Chuck Clark. Clark is okay, but again, safeties are not great. And then Stevens, people give him a lot of flack. And I think the problem with Steven is you forget that he's a third round rookie converted to safety. He's gotta have some mistakes. Mistakes will be made, right? Overall, for a third round rookie, I think he's been solid. But mistakes will be made because he is a third round rookie. And when they pair him in Njoku, I think they might have place to be there. This is a game that I think the Ravens might try to blitz more than they have because their secondary, although people are like, why are you putting the secondary there, one-on-one matchups, especially not necessarily Marlon, but the rest? Well, what you're hoping when you're blitzing is you get there before the pass goes, or you force a quick pass or erratic pass. In the Bears game, the blitzer just forgot to blitz. He just stands there with a clear path, and he's like there staring, like, what am I against Stevens? Was the guy? What am I supposed to do? So stopping the run is key, and then basically make it a one-dimensional, and then hoping there's no blow coverage, which has not been the truth in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 games. We have at least one blow coverage, and it scares me. This is a game. I think this game is gonna be close. I see a couple people predicting a blow. I think this game is gonna be close, and when you have a close game, you know what you want? A blown coverage play. Okay. Now let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about the offense for the Ravens against the Browns defense. Browns defense is solid, right? I think people give him flag because you brought all these names and people were talking, oh, they're gonna be a top 5. Right? I remember the AFC North talk. Some of the fan base from the Browns were like, oh no, this defense is gonna be top 5, and they have potential. They're streaky. They play better sometimes, and sometimes they just don't play as good. I'm curious, Q. How do you think this Browns defense attacks this Ravens offense?
I think you're going to want to look at the matchups on the edges, right? Or with the offensive line, Jadeveon Clowney, Malik McDowell, and Myles Garrett. There's going to be the three most important people right here. Somebody who, I think is going to be also important, but maybe in a negative way, is how many snaps does Jordan Elliott get? Because what I have observed from watching my film, Jordan Elliott's the other defensive tackle when Malik Jackson's not in there. But from what I have observed is that Jordan Elliott's a very undisciplined rusher, right? Normally with veteran rushers, and you'll see this with Malik McDowell, who's not a veteran, he's a rookie, but he just plays like a vet out there, is if their lane isn't there, they're not trying, you know how young defensive tackles are. Their lane's not there. They're not getting through. I'm going to hit a spin move. I'm going to try to cut around. I'm going to try to dip and rip. And what happens when you do that? 1 second. What happens when you do that is you abandon your lane. You abandon your gap. You end up in somebody else's gap and open up the field. Now, when they were playing McCorkle Jones, young McCorkle, who's a baller, that's what
Mac Jones, for those that don't know. I didn't know that was his name. That's Mac Jones. Go ahead.
Yeah, young McCorkle Jones out there balling in New England, Mr. McCorkle. That's what Jordan Elliott did all the time. McCorkle's not a great runner. He's a pretty good passer. He's a pretty good observer of the defense, so he didn't come down to that. But he's not a runner, so he's not going to take advantage of it. Same thing with TB12 in Detroit, Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle couldn't even think about running. He's so bad at quarterback. So when those things happen, it didn't matter. Now you're going up against Lamar Jackson. And somebody who, look, the Browns don't play a ton of man. So there's that going for them, right? Against the scramble. So they don't really got to run spy or anything because they run enough zone. But the issue isn't that, if you got a spy out there, the issue is if one of your defensive tackles gets wildly out of alignment and leaves a big hole for Lamar Jackson, you just gave up 25 yards. You know what I mean? Man, zone, whatever. That's the issue, right? You have to be disciplined on the defensive line when you play Lamar Jackson. I know everybody's telling me that the Miami Dolphins zero blitzed the Ravens to death and beat them. I am more hesitant to take in what happens on a Thursday night football game on the road as fact. I just don't think that is the fact, right? I have seen enough Lamar Jackson versus zero blitzes end up in a poor situation. Look at the end of last year's Monday night football game for anybody who needs a reminder of how bad it is, ideal it is to blitz Lamar zero. I know the Dolphins had success with that, but that might have had a lot more to do with other things than Lamar just not being able to play against a zero blitz. I don't know why every year, by the way, I'm gonna just sidetrack real quick. I don't know why every year, whenever Lamar loses a game, people he does against somebody he doesn't expect, that's it. They figured him out. Like it happens every year. And people swear that that's the answer. This man has been great for 3 years.
Yep.
There's no singular. If there was, people would use it. But it's just that people swear they have an answer for Lamar, and the truth is there is no answer. You're not going to zero blitz. Go ahead and zero blitz Lamar Jackson all the time, and you're going to be in my inbox talking about fire Joe Woods. So no, I'm not down with that strategy. I don't think that's smart. And by the way, if you don't get home on the zero blitz, and he does one of them things that he does where he just ducks down, stands up, clear out. 70-yard touchdown for Lamar Jackson. Again, the zero blitzing him, that ideal of that being the Lamar Jackson kryptonite is one of the most ludicrous additions of the Lamar Jackson kryptonite things that I've heard, right? It used to be off zone coverages. It used to be zone quarters coverage. It used to just be a nickel package. People said it was the Lamar. Like I could name you all the Lamar Jackson kryptonites that people have come up here with. It's kind of like when somebody says they got a LeBron stopper in basketball. Jay Crowder used to be the LeBron blocker, right? Remember that one? Yeah, that didn't work out. Now he's just bouncing around everywhere. So, it's just there is no one size fit all solution for Lamar Jackson. The best solution you can get is to try your best to get the Ravens behind the sticks. Like any other offense, you get them behind the sticks. And then the Ravens do what they have done this year, which is get some procedural penalties, right? Some false starts, some illegal motions, some illegal player. Now, like they get these penalties. So if you get them behind the sticks to start with, and then they push themselves behind the sticks, that really throws off their offense, forces them to punt, gets them out of rhythm. And that's the best way to play the Ravens. There is no one game plan to beat Lamar Jackson, because if that were the case, he wouldn't be Lamar Jackson. He wouldn't be probably like the second or third best quarterback, give or take, any week in the NFL. If not, sometimes the best quarterback in the NFL. That's what you're going up against. So, defensively, look, you got to match up your best player versus their best player. You got to match up I feel like this is the best defensive player in the NFL versus what their best offensive player is. Find ways to get those two to meet, and then good things can happen. Alejandro Villanueva has a long storied history of not blocking Myles Garrett, so hopefully that continues. But the Ravens usually try to figure it out, and they're usually the best team at figuring it out with Myles Garrett. So we'll see what happens there. Denzel Ward is going to be a big factor here. John Johnson, we need him to have a good game eventually. He's going to have to step up here. And JOK, I think, is going to be real big, because I think part of the Ravens' game plan is going to be trying to do what New England did, which is screen to the strong side of the field towards Myles Garrett to just get him out of the play. Which is the ultimate respect for a defensive end. That's how you know you're dominant, when they just decide to just screen all game. But that's what works, and that's probably what they're going to do. So JOK is going to have to be on top of that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with all the things you said. You guys have Ward, which definitely can keep up with Hollywood. And I'm interested to see how either Newsom or Grady playing this game.
I think so. And Newsom's going to be interesting, right? Because those are two Big Ten boys that used to play against each other all the time. Well, Golden Gopher versus Wildcat. I wonder what their stats were the last time they matched up. I think they were injured, though.
Yeah, because last year, Bateman played like 3 games, and then he opted out of that season. So he opted up at the beginning, and then he's like, "Oh no, let me go play." It was one of which I can't remember right now. So he might have missed that game. But those two are going to be interesting matchups on the outside. Sammy Watkins, he will sprinkle some here, but Mark Andrews, I'm very interested to see how they're going to push with Mark Andrews, right? JOK is a good player. I think Mark Andrews, because of his size, can definitely work some of the JOK. So John Johnson definitely will be the guy that I think Cleveland might pair against him, which I'm fine with that. I'm all about that. You bring John
Yeah,
Johnson.
did
You
you
pay
see
him all
that
this
clip
money.
of Hunter Henry shaking John Johnson out
Yeah,
his shoes at the goal
yeah,
line? It's
yeah.
not great stuff there from John. Like it just, I don't know what's happened to him, but he's a completely different player than he was last year. I mean, Ronnie Harrison hasn't been that much better. So when it comes to guarding these tight ends, honestly, as much as I think it's kind of a waste to use JOK in a strictly, hey, we're going to cover a dude who probably, Mark Andrews this year probably gets about like 6 targets a game this year,
About that,
compared
yeah.
to compared to Hollywood's like 9. So it's not like he's the bulk of the offense like he used to be. And JOK is somebody you're going to depend on to get these screens out the way. If you use them to cover up on Mark Andrews, it's kind of wasting him on what he can really do. But I would like to see them do that because they haven't had him go up against tight ends often. And I understand he's smaller, but he's a lot more physical than the guys that they have against these tight ends right now, right? John Johnson's just not as physical or as strong as JOK, and neither is Ronnie Harrison. So I do think he would fare better. I just think that they're kind of in a balance of like, it's kind of a waste to use him like that, and they rather just sacrifice Malcolm Smith for them 6 targets. So we'll see what the strategy is. We're going to need some players to step up and play much better than they have in the last few weeks. That's for damn sure if you're the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think for the Ravens offense, the key of this game is which is one of the Browns' strongest suits. So we'll see how we can hold is the O-line, right? If the O-line here is like butter and letting everybody just slide in to Lamar Jackson, it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be pretty. If for some reason they figure out how to slow down this pass rush, right? Slow down, just put Nick Boyle, that just came back next to Villanueva, just to ship him in and help there, or just maybe a couple max protect with only 2 routes. And if the Browns are undisciplined, you always says Lamar Jackson as a third just to run, then you have a chance, right? It all depends how our O line can just match up with that. On the secondary, Browns have players there, but I think if the O line is playing well enough, right, then you will see Lamar sometimes just breaking out of the pocket, and that's when things happen, right? Because then you see this is not just the Brown. Every player just panics. They see Lamar breaking down. If let's say there was a dig route there to Bateman, that's when the corner's like, oh my God, Lamar's gonna run, and then they come there, and then Lamar has a play there to the receiver. So obviously the Browns have to be super disciplined, but the Ravens have to be extremely well played on the O line. If the O line does not play well, it's going to be a long game for the Ravens, because even if the defense for some reason is playing good, if the O line, if that position is not playing good, then the offense cannot do anything. So I think this is going to be a close game, Q. My prediction of this game is 23-20 Ravens. A very close game, well fought. And it's going to be down to the wire. And your boy JT is going to make the field goal at the end. And that's how I predict this game to go. But what about you?
Oh man, I really hope it don't come down to another Justin Tucker. I really don't want that one to happen. But I also don't want it to come down to another Pookie Scoot, right? But Pookie Scoot is definitely in play this week because but yeah, this is an interesting one, right? The Ravens, look, if they haven't done anything well this year, the one thing they've done well is finish games at times, right? The one thing the Browns just have not done well is finish games, and sometimes they don't even start. Sometimes when they start, they don't ever start up again, right? The Browns have had those against the Patriots. Start off great, first drive touchdown. Okay, we out here smooth operating, and then it just gets away from them. Yeah, it gets away 45 unanswered, and then you play the Lions, and it starts off smooth. Okay, this is gonna be a blowout. We're already up 14. All right, just get another stop, score another touchdown, and then we get a missed field goal, missed extra point, a bunch of just bad possessions offensively. DeAndre Swift stays in the game because you're not up by enough points to take out the running game. He comes back in there. Then the Lions find a way to sneak back into this. This is what I worry about with the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens do not start well. This is something we know about the Ravens. They do not start games off hot. They can finish them, but they don't start them off hot. If you don't pile up at the beginning, we know that you're gonna blow a part of this lead at the end for the Browns, right? Like that's just what it's been, right? We know we're not gonna maintain it, and the Ravens are a very good comeback team. So that being the case, how much faith can you have in this team? And also, are they going to show up? I feel like they have no choice but to show up this week. Now, I know I predicted a booty beatdown, so I will refrain from giving out scores on this video. But I will say here is that, a lot of these things would lean towards the Ravens' direction. And I would be happy to be surprised if the Browns pull this one out. Clearly, I would be ecstatic. But this is one where it's hard for me to logically pick this. Emotionally, I want to pick the Browns because I love the Browns, and I want to beat the Ravens because y'all have beat us for a long time, the last 2 years, pretty much ever since that 2019 game. So I want to get it back on y'all home field again, and sweep y'all. But I just don't feel confident in it logically. Emotionally, I might feel better about this, but logically, I don't feel like the opportunity is ripe for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday night.
Well, Q, thank you for joining us, guys. I'm gonna put Q's description, his channel, and again, AFC North Talk, Q's channel, both things in the description below. Thank you for coming, Q. Hey guys, you know how it is. It's Ravens week, so it's gonna be a fun one against the Browns. We have Browns, Steelers, Browns, so it's all AFC North for the next 3 weeks. We have to get it. It's gonna be a good one.
Decided in these next 3 weeks. The Ravens could run away with this division, or they could give it up away. It's gonna be interesting.
All in this little streak. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.